Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good, and you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just realized my ring light isn't on, so I look quite dark. You all had a good day or starting your day?
I'm starting my day. It's 10 a.m. Hey.
Oh, are you still trying to like squeeze that last bit out of summer, or has it gone into autumn now?
It's actually quite sunny and warm, so we're pushing off the autumn a little while longer.
Oh, that's quite nice. I quite like autumn. So we've definitely got spring here, eh, Holly?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're getting warmer now.
Yes, it is lovely. It was a beautiful day today. I just went down into the reserve and just hung out in nature. So I'm really excited about tonight's training. This is off the cuff. This is, I just am so excited about the Unleash Your Legacy Challenge that I couldn't wait actually for it to start doing some, warm up towards it and start helping you with the things that we're going to be doing in the challenge. So you guys have obviously jumped onto the pre-list, which means you're going to get these amazing 3 bonus trainings. The first one we did on Monday, so you should have got the recording for that now in your inbox. Dina, I'm not sure if yours has gone across actually yet, because I don't think I added the tag. I think I got distracted when we were chatting and then didn't add the tag, so I'll add that straight on as soon as we get off here, and that will come through by email. And then we have this training tonight, which is all about quantum science and how do you apply that so that you make more sales? And talking about emotional biohacking too, which is a massive part of how we apply the science. And then there'll be a third training as well, which is Secret Squirrel at the moment. And that one should come out by the end of tomorrow. But this one, you get live. Yeah, Holly?
Sorry, I was going to say I haven't had an email either.
Oh, well, that's good. Good to see my system's working well.
I was just checking.
I was double check whether you got a tag as well.
I wasn't Facebooking. I was just checking.
We, yeah, I mean, lockdown right now, it's insane. There's just children everywhere. I feel like my thoughts are going in. I'm probably the worst advert for what I do right now because my scattered thoughts the last couple of days. But yeah, I think we're finding our flow now, finally, which is good. And the kids are just enjoying playing as much Lego as they possibly can. So anything they notice they're not at school. So yeah, so we'll be digging into that quantum stuff tonight, which I'm really excited about. So I'm going to, oh, I just see Michelle as well. Hey, Michelle. I'm going to share my screen.
Just driving, Claire.
Oh, that's okay. The car's all good?
Yes, they even washed it at the service.
Wow.
It's all brand new and clean. It's lovely.
Oh, nice. So we're going to start with this amazing quote. I think you've heard of this guy. He's, pretty well known. Good old Einstein. And he basically said that everything is energy and that is all there is to it, right? Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. So we hear a lot about the law of attraction, but I think until you really start to understand it and you actually start to manifest some of this stuff, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. And how we feel is at the center of all of it. So our feelings are frequencies. So what this is saying is that there is a reality out there in the quantum field that you want. In the quantum field, every single potential exists. It's already happening right now. And all we've got to do is match with our frequency, but our frequency is wrapped up in the emotions from the past. And so we're carrying feelings around unconsciously, and our mind body is in a survival mode unconsciously that is actually attracting a whole different reality. So this is huge to your sales. And there's that big question there. How do you attract those sales? is it possible to attract those sales without focusing so much on the business strategy, the sales strategy? I would say 100% yes. And tonight I am going to, I'm going to show you how, which is quite exciting. So does anybody have any specific, intentions for tonight, something that you really want to learn, that you want to put it out there to me so you make sure I cover it, or anything you want to bring into the session? Perhaps you're on this journey and this is, what you're working on at the moment and you're really excited. If anybody wants to chime in right now before we get started, please do. I'm totally open. This is a nice small group and we can keep it interactive. Otherwise, I will just move on and get going. So the idea is, if there's this reality out there and it's already happening, to really understand the feeling of it. And something I realized during my journey recently is when I asked myself honestly about abundance. I did all this work to get myself out of scarcity mindset and into abundance mindset. But there came a point where I was like, do I actually really know what abundance feels like? Because it was something that I hadn't necessarily deeply experienced. And I could bring myself to a certain point where I could experience abundance as if it already was happening. And then there was a point after that where I had no idea. What would it be like to just go and flash $100,000 on a car? What would it be like to hand over $1 million check to charity? What would it be like to never have to think about money ever again? What would it be like to impact millions of people across the world? If we're really honest with ourselves, can our imagination stretch that far to understand what it truly feels like to have the abundance that we seek, and ask for more too, and feel that? I'd love to put that around the room. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you can truly already feel your abundance at the level that you want it, as if it already is?
Probably stretch a little farther.
Yeah. And I don't think it's until we kind of connect with that we realize that. And that's huge, because actually, if that reality is existing out there at a certain frequency, we have to actually, in all of our body, in all of our mind, body, soul, be as if we were experiencing that right now. That is our decisions. That is our actions. That is those 80,000 thoughts that we have spinning around our head every single day. Being as if, having expansive thinking as if, and we've all been here in our business. Like my experience with bringing on different people into my team, I had to admit there was a little piece in my ear that was going, holy shit, this is expensive. That isn't expansive thinking. That isn't being as if my business is already at $1 million now, right? And it is these tiny whispers that like just creep in and say these old patterned thoughts and programs from the past, where money has been scarce, love has been scarce, trust has been scarce. It's like these things creep in, and we have to ask ourselves, how do we not entertain them? And how do they not unconsciously create the feelings that are changing our vibration and actually moving us away from what we want? So I'd love to go around the room now. And if you completely honestly think about the vibration of the vision that you want, close your eyes just for a moment and take a deep breath in through your nose, feet flat on the floor so you're connected to the earth's energy. Breathe right in. Hold it at the top and then let it out. And let that breath move through your body and let it just settle back down in your root chakra. I want you to see that root chakra. I want you to see its red. See its red color, feel its red color. And just consciously bring balance into that root. And as you take another deep breath in, I want you to pull the energy up from your root chakra into your sacral chakra. And transfer that balance. See that color of the chakra, see the orange. And feel its balance as you breathe out. Next breath in, bring that energy up into your solar plexus. Center your focus on that yellow area of your body and bring balance to there. Just balance it out with your mind, with your focus, with your intention, letting that breath out. Breathe now up into your heart. Bring that energy up into your heart. Feel and see that beautiful green. Let it fill your chest as you balance. And let that breath out. Breathe up into your throat chakra. Bring that energy up, light up that blue, light up that beautiful blue expression, the color of expression in your throat. Feel the balance from the breath and let your breath out. Breathe now up into your third eye, all the way up, bringing that energy all the way up into your third eye, seeing that beautiful, magnificent purple. And then on your next breath, you're going to bring the breath all the way up to your crown, where it's going to connect with the white light above. Letting it out, let that energy out and feeling that entire balance through your entire system, that calm, your parasympathetic nervous system switched on. And you're going to connect with the feeling of your vision. You're going to bring a mental picture to mind so you see that vision, and I want you to feel that vision, and I want you to feel the feelings it brings into your body to be in that mental picture, to be as if it's happening now. You can even dial up those feelings so they're even higher in frequency. Feel how high you feel, how ecstatic you feel, how proud you feel. All of those feels, feel into them now. Connect with that feeling. And when you've got that feeling, as if you could hold it in your hand, you're going to open your eyes and you're going to honestly say, where is your feeling day to day in comparison to the frequency of that vision? Bring awareness to, for you, what is the gap? What the gap is when you get pulled into the day-to-day, the rush, the stress, the challenges, just the pace of general life, the physical ailments, maybe the things that you worry about. Where is the gap between those frequencies? Because that is very key to the manifestation of what you want. And bringing awareness to that right now sets you free, because we have a benchmark from which we can work from. Feelings as well, they also drive your action. And that is also a piece we need for law of attraction. The last letters in law of attraction spell action. So unfortunately, we don't just get to sit back in the deck chair drinking margaritas and manifest. That would be nice, but we do have to take action as well. And those feelings drive the action that you take. There are 4 feelings that we want to be having day to day. Feelings, experiences, and they are motivation, clarity, creativity, and that feeling of connection. Those are the 4 things that will bring you more sales. Those are the things that will that will drive in feeling the actions that will make more sales. So your strategy suddenly becomes two-pronged. We're actually, with our energy and our intention and our vision and that effort to raise our vibration, we are calling the abundance in. We are attracting those clients. It's that client that knocks you up on the back door and it's like, where the hell did you come from? You just weren't in my, like, you're not in any single funnel, like, that you've literally called that person in. But then there's the action that we're taking to reach people as well and connect with them online. And online, there is one very specific thing that we have to do to make any time on social media worth our time, and that is be consistent. We have to post, we have to show up every single day, multiple times a day, in multiple places as well. I've been testing online this week with just over a week now with Instagram, and I've been pushing a third post, and the difference in the following is just insane. Like, it really does push your followers up. And then that day over the weekend where it was Bowie's birthday, where I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to enjoy Bowie, followers started to drip down. So consistency on social media is huge. What gives us consistency? How we feel. Feeling motivated to pick up the phone and make that post, feeling motivated to get in the messenger and have those conversations, feeling motivated to dig into our story and pull the pieces out that we feel resistance around, right? Motivation is absolutely huge. It is it is a feeling. We'll just skip through the whole presentation. It is a feeling. And we have to understand how we create it. And we're going to be looking at that tonight. Clarity. We have to be really clear on our messaging. We have to be really clear on who we're connecting to. We have to be really clear. We have to stay clear to create good content. Otherwise, it's scrambled eggs. You know what you're posting, you can't find your point. You know the feeling. We have to be clear. And today with a client, we were messaging on Instagram because I noticed that her bio was just not very good. She's a new client. I was like, we have to clean that up really fast. And that it just reminded me of how hard it is when you're back at the start of your journey to actually connect with that clarity that you need at the level that you need it to really hammer your message home to your audience who is consuming 100,000 things a day, and they have to hear you through the noise. They have to self-identify really quickly. 1.8 seconds. That's all you've got when somebody lands on your profile. 1.8 seconds, and they are deciding whether they're sticking around. So we have to have clarity. Creativity, reels. I mean, look at what is drawing in traffic right now. Video content, specifically reels, TikToks, short, where you either do a skit or you do a little kind of motivational something or other. You've got to feel creative to do that. And when you're in your survival brain, which we're going to talk about in a minute, we can't get to our creativity. It completely shuts down. So to take this action, we're seeing the things we need: motivation, clarity, creativity. And the fourth one is connection, and that is an inward connection, because there is so much more to that creativity than we allow. We are, as females and as society, have been so inadvertently dragged into our masculine energy, right? To survive as a species, and to climb up those corporate ladders and to get seen and heard and respected, we have had to step away from our divine feminine energy, and we have stepped into our masculine energy. And those of us who have realized that, we're clawing that stuff back, because the feminine energy, where we allow and we receive and we connect and we hear and it's the intuition, and it is manifestation in the feminine energy. We're trying to get back to that. because that's a huge part of what you attract towards you. So getting into the biohacking, it is the biohacks. I said I was going to give you 4 biohacks today or tonight that will help you to attract sales. I've just given you the business strategy that will help you to attract sales. Simple. And it always is, right? The business strategy is always the easiest part. If you were to feel absolutely nothing and just be completely neutral, you would get a business strategy, you would just run along with it, you would action it. The issue is we have feelings and they get in our way. What emotional biohacking is interrupting those programmed patterns of feeling, stepping in and using our personal chemistry, the way our brain is, the way our nervous system works, to change our state and be able to take action powerfully without the action, without the emotional state that really, throws us off our perch. And I'll give you an example. You know, even if we get a script to talk to somebody in the DM, we still feel funny about going in the DM. And the DM on social media is where we generate sales. You know, if we're going to do a live video, again, we could get the most amazing format for a live video, but it's still how we feel when we get up, if we even get up and do that live video at all. And then again, if we're up on that live video and the anxious feelings start, the clarity disappears, we're tripping over our words, we don't know what we're talking about, we forget to leave a CTA, you know, a call to action. So our feelings, they can either empower us or disempower us, but we get to choose, right? And we all have an emotional home. We all have a dominant emotional home, which triggers when we're under threat. Now, this isn't somebody coming at you with a hammer. This is the daily stresses of life. This is being in lockdown and having 3 children, you know, clawing at the doors. I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. I need to be fed again. And I only fed about 35 seconds ago. That creates stress and triggers. It is, you know, the constant notifications on your phone creates a body stress response. It is not getting enough sleep. When you do not get enough sleep, and again, as mothers, I'm sure, Holly, do you have children?
3.
That's right. So we're all on the same page here. I was going to say, if you don't, the cats are just as bad. Climbing up the curtains.
The cats are worse.
Yeah. But actually, sleep deprivation is a form of torture because your body sees that as a real threat. And so I think it was a few months ago, I was working with Stina actually a few months ago. And I think it was then when Bowie just had completely given up sleeping and my mind had gone into all sorts of weird and wonderful places because I was so sleep deprived, and it just switches on that survival response, right? And so that is where our emotions and the emotional home defaults. It goes into the default setting. Mine is anger. Yours, I will snap. I will just snap. That is my emotional home. It's how I survived as a child. It's how I survived growing up. It may turn me into an amazing kickboxer for a period of time, but it is a completely redundant emotion. And I've done the work now to be able to channel that emotion in a different way, in a positive way, and use it as passion and love to come back to a place of love instead of, fight. Again, with Stina's help, she's a self-love coach, she's amazing. So we've got to figure out our emotional home. Some of us will have an emotional home in depression, depressed, low feeling. And the thing is that the body actually becomes addicted to the chemicals that are attached to this emotional home, right? If we've had a lifetime of feeling a certain feeling, the body is addicted to the chemicals of those feelings. We'll actually create situations to feel more of that stuff because, again, home, it's comfortable. It's comfortable for the body. Again, that abundance where we're at a completely new frequency, where we don't have a worry in the world, we don't know what that feels like, and anything to the brain is unfamiliar. That is unfamiliar signals threat. So the biohacks that you're going to learn they are things that have to become part of your daily life, your new rhythm. If you want to be creating the productive feelings, motivation, clarity, creativity, connection, every single day that is just going to have you flying in your work, as well as raising your frequency to the level of the reality you want, so that reality manifests at the same time. Opportunities appear, synchronicities, as they're called. You know, people suddenly are offering things to you. I have this beautiful story of when we moved down here to Tauranga in 2018. We lost our house in Auckland and we moved into this house, and I couldn't afford a pair of trainers. But I started this gym because it was a 2-week trial and it was free. And I'm obsessed with the gym. And I went bare feet. And I was like making excuses that, you know, I'm a kickboxer. I don't wear trainers. I can't. But the truth was, I didn't have any trainers to put on my feet, right? And I felt a lot of shame about that, because it was quite a, you know, Holly, I don't know if you know Papamoa, so everybody's a little bit, you know, well-to-do with their active wear and their really expensive trainers. And there's me turning up in my tie shorts, bare feet. Like I just, you know, stood out like a sore thumb, and I couldn't afford these trainers. And this went on for weeks. I managed to pull together like the $20 for the first month of like on a special for the gym, and I still didn't have the money for the trainers. And I think I was barefoot for 6 weeks until there was a sale at Smith's Sports Shoes, went and bought some cheap, and then got some shoes on my feet. Now, obviously this year, my entire abundance looks completely different. And I decided to go and treat myself to a $300 pair of trainers. And I was so happy. I was so excited. I took about 1,000 photos. And I shared the story on my social media of this journey from no trainers to amazing trainers. And then a few weeks ago, the sole fell off one of the shoes. And I was like, well, that sucks, considering, you know, this other pair I wore for 3 years when I finally got them. And then I got this new pair and they're already losing their soles. So I went into the store and I said, hey, look, I just wanted to let you know this has happened. Because, yeah, maybe there's a fault, or, you know, and I was about to walk out the door and they said, oh, sweet, we'll just replace them for you. And I stood there and I was like, well, this is hilarious. You know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was, I would have literally given my right arm for somebody to have just given me a free pair of trainers. But there wasn't opportunity like that coming from anywhere. I was completely stuck. I literally had hand to mouth, which was my identity, and nothing more. My identity now asks for more, is, you know, vibrating at a whole different frequency, has completely done the healing work to understand that lack it's just an illusion. Scarcity doesn't exist. The universe will provide. We will always have enough. And I can say that with belief because of the trauma work I've done to reverse all of the belief setting experiences in the first place, right? And I did a reel. I was like, this is the abundance head fuck. If you need more, you won't get it. When you need it, you just won't get it. But when you don't need it, that's when it's all going to this is just all going to come in, right? And that's where we have to get to, is this place where we are feeling abundance as if we've already got it, which means we trust, which means we, you know, we're not stuck in the survival mode. So the things I'm going to teach you, I want you to look at them as ongoing work, something that you're wanting to commit to for the long term and go deep with. They're not overnight fixes. And the first one, and this is really to do with the motivation, is your trauma work, is to identify those experiences in the past that have created beliefs that are limiting you. My belief about scarcity, that money was scarce, it was hurting me, it was harming me. And it had created this identity where I was hand to mouth, because that's what I'd lived through for such a long time. So that feeling of wrapped up, you know, to be honest, the belief was if I make it, I'll lose it, because that was the experience. So the motivation wasn't there to make money, because there was this fear that if I lost it, it was actually going to be worse, right? Because I'd experienced that scarcity in the past. When I did my trauma work, I realized that, yes, I had experienced some scarcity, but I'd never gone without. And a lot of what I feared was actually imagined and perceived as bigger than it was, because of seeing it through the lens of how my parents were viewing it, right? And their fear. So we have an operating system, and that operating system starts when we are 0. From the moment that we come out of our mother's womb, we are developing an operating system. We are absorbing how we see the world as programs. And those programs play out as our identity. So number 1, you want to get motivated. You want to feel like you have never felt before about doing your business work. You want to feel unlimited, limitless. You have to do that trauma work. You have to go back to come forward. Number 2, to get that clarity and to keep that clarity, we've got to get that brain out of survival mode. We have got to get that brain out of survival mode. So emotional biohack number 2 is to do with your brain waves. So we have brainwave states that are moving all the time, or all, like, you know, actually not all the time, but they move throughout the day, through the night. We can move them ourselves as well, which is cool, but generally we don't. Generally, outside of sleep and that kind of waking up, falling asleep period, we're operating in what's known as the beta brainwave. And the beta brainwave has three levels of frequency, has a low, a medium, and a high. And that low beta brainwave state is kind of relaxed. We're got attention, you know, we're not dreamy enough or you know, meditating enough that we've gone into the theta or the alpha. We're switched on but relaxed. And then you go up a brainwave and they're getting faster as we're going up. We're going into the medium, and that's perhaps where right now you'll be in a medium because you're paying attention to me, you're learning, right? When your brain flicks into high beta frequency, the front side of your brain completely switches off. The entire rest of your brain just goes into disorder. Your stress chemicals and hormones just start going wild. And that is a stress response. You rest and digest, in your digestion system just switches off. All the blood's running out to your arms and your legs. And like I was saying before, because of the pace of life, because of the experiences we have as parents, because of things like mobile phones and pressures and worries and everything else, we are spending a lot of time in this high beta brainwave state. Do you notice yourself yawning in the day when you finally sit down maybe and switch off for a moment? The minute you notice yourself yawning, that is a sign your nervous system's been in a sympathetic response. I wear a watch that counts my breath rate all of the time, and it has a guardian function on it where I set the parameters from, so I want to know when it's going below 8, which it generally doesn't, but I want to know when it's going above 14 breaths a minute. Because for me, if I'm not moving and it knows when I'm moving, so if I was going upstairs, it wouldn't go off, or if I was doing star jumps or whatever, but if I'm just here, it'll buzz at me. And it's buzzed a couple of times while I've been doing this as well, because I'm kind of ramping up, right? But I'm also a little bit nervous. So my nervous system's kicking in. Every time my breath rate is speeding up, that's a sign that my sympathetic nervous system is switching on, which is causing a flurry of chemicals and stress responses in the body, hormones, and it is really unhealthy for us, number 1, and it can lead to a chronic stress state. But number 2, it's locking us out of the most powerful part of our brain, where we have complete clarity and where we have creativity, where Einstein hung out most of the time. As he said, logic will get you somewhere, it'll get you from A to B, but your imagination will get you anywhere. And that is where our imagination lies. It is in the front part, the newer part of the brain. Because we didn't need imagination when we were running away from saber-toothed tigers. We just needed that primal part of the brain, right, to keep us safe and alive. Whereas now we've evolved. We've got this beautiful neocortex that we can create from, that is connected to our divine source. And those beautiful, you've had them when you finally switched off enough, or you're in that beautiful meditation, you get that download, you're like, where did that come from? Or you even get it when you step in the shower and you just doing something automatic or driving the car where you're switching the thoughts off and you're getting into that front side of the brain, which is popping those little ideas up. So how do we spend more time there? Because that creativity is what is going to drive your business. It is those good ideas. It is those ideas for reels. It is, you know, so the first thing is breath work. That is my number one emotional biohack, is breath work. Outside of your trauma work, breath work and other I call it integration activities as well, which is obviously your meditation, but it can also just be like a gratitude walk, or it can be doing something that brings you into a state of joy really quickly. So one of the tools I use as a coach is called the Joy GPS journal, because you can journal what switches on your joy and you can carve in doing more of that because it's shifting your vibration. Every time you're shifting your vibration, you are manipulating that personal chemistry to increase that frequency and to also access parts of the brain that you're not using, and to bring your brain into coherence as well, realign everything. Because like I say, in that beta brain, in that survival brain, it's just, everything's just going, yeah, to custard. So one of the things that, in fact, Michelle experienced this in our accelerator, maybe the week before last, was we actually sat and we connected with something that stresses us out. And we actually noticed how it feels to feel your sympathetic nervous system switching on. This is really, really powerful, because the problem is you don't know when it's switching on. I wouldn't be able to tell you when my breath rate is at 17 breaths per minute. I wouldn't be able to tell you. But when I get that buzz, I can know. And because of that buzz, it's buzzed enough times that I can tell you the certain things going on in my body when I'm starting to go into that fight or it just went just then, fight or flight state, right? I'm starting to feel certain things in the areas of my body. When I get the awareness of my body, I can also get awareness of what's in my environment and what my neuroception is seeing. What are the things that are consistently switching my sympathetic nervous system on that I can change? Biohacking is changing your routines, your habits, in a way that positively manipulates that personal chemistry for the outcome, the result that you want. It's exactly the same with your emotions. Changing your habits, your routines, so that you create a different emotional state. You don't trigger the stress emotions. You don't trigger the survival emotions. And at the same time, doing that trauma work to change the belief systems that are creating those as your emotional home. So we connected with the sympathetic nervous system switching on, and then we did this beautiful breath that immediately will bring you back into parasympathetic. And it's so simple. You just breathe in for 4, out for 8, and breathe out like you're breathing out through a straw. And you hold at the bottom for 8. So your activity is to start controlling your breath. Notice, how do you become more conscious? You got to slow the fuck down. That is the only way that you are going to start to notice these things, is to slow the pace of your life down. Create some healthy transitions. Are you rushing from one thing to the other, or can you actually, like as if you were a 3-year-old child, which on the inside we are, you know? So it's like treating us like the little kid inside who can't be rushed from one activity to the other. We need some advance warning that we're going to have our shoelaces tied. And we need some advance warning that we're going to have to leave our toys and start heading out the door and getting in the car. And that keeps a child calm, and that keeps us calm as well. So having that mindfulness, and we know that mindfulness is such a buzzword, but what does it actually mean in your day-to-day life and business? Start with some healthy transitions, some pauses in between. You're moving from one piece of work to the other, moving from one part of the day into the other. We do Steiner school with our kids. And they're so about the in-breath, out-breath. I love it. Like, I feel like I've been parented. I feel like I've had the parenting I never had as a child. It's like we have the in-breath and then we have the out-breath, and we don't, you know, have the out-breath again until we've had the in-breath. And it's the rhythm of the day. You have complete control over the rhythm of your day. Stina, Michelle, Holly, actually as well. You've all done my anchors activity, and that's what that is. It's creating the emotional state that you want by changing your rhythm so that it's having those anchors in place that match the feelings that are the reality you want to create, right? At the frequency of the reality that you want to create. So there is that parasympathetic breath, there is mindfulness, slowing things down, creating healthy transitions, and especially before you create your content. You can take 5 minutes to just do that breath, in for 4, out for 8, hold, in for 4, out for 8, hold, then look at doing your content. Don't rush from getting the kids together, you know, packing the lunch, then trying to get straight into the content, because it's just not going to access the part of your mind that is going to give you the beautiful creative content that you want, right? In the same way, your breath can energize you as well. So if you're just feeling like, I don't want to do anything, you can rhythmically breathe at a faster pace. 2 by 2, in for 2, out for 2, in for 2, out for 2. It's a little bit like hyperventilating, but it gets the oxygen rushing around your body, and like within a few breaths, you're wanting to get up and jump around, and then you're motivated to get on with what you want. It's better than a coffee. Again, we had in the accelerator last week, a breathwork expert come in, and he did this deep dive with us, and he talked about squeezing your pelvic floor. When you squeeze your pelvic floor, you actually speed your heart rate up, and if your heart rate's speeding up, it's pumping more blood around the body, and you can, she says that drinking coffee, but you can replace the coffee because you're waking yourself up. And I actually filmed it on my watch, and I'm uploading it up onto YouTube to show you my my heart rate went from about 62 up to 78, 80 in like just a few seconds. So it's really powerful. We have control over our bodies, we're just not using it. And Joe Dispenza says this: it is not the body and the mind. The mind body are one because of that connection between the brain and the nervous system. And the body, when the nervous system is taking control in an unhealthy way, the body is becoming the mind. Because that nervous system starts those thoughts off, and it is those thoughts that are your biggest self-sabotage. I can't do it. What are they going to say if, oh, I'm just going to pull back a little bit because that's way too bold. Oh, no, I'm going to do it. And that is what is blocking your success, is the pulling back, is the holding back. It's what you think about the work that you do, perhaps. I know so many soul-fired up female entrepreneurs who will tell themselves that they are not worth the money for what they do, that nobody will pay them for that result. That's not truth. That's just something you're telling yourself based on something that you believe, or something you've picked up, or something you've experienced that's made you decide that. That's not the truth. In the quantum field, that definitely is an option, if that's where you want to send your energy and your focus, but there's also a bunch more of potentials that exist. So we got to start deciding what we want, and we've got to start focusing there, because you can manifest. So number 3, that creativity. I'm going to teach you how to connect with that imagination and to get those downloads. So I just told you that in the quantum field, all opportunities exist. That success that you want, it's happening right now. Those sales are happening right now. It's just that somebody else is at the frequency of them manifesting, and they're taking those sales. That's the truth. So we want to understand how we can be in the space where there's infinite possibility. So first, you've got to feel what it's like to be in the space. So I think Stina and Michelle, you've done this before, but it's quite cool. And we're just going to close our eyes again. Take a nice big relaxing breath deep into your belly and blowing it out through the straw. And the truth is that everything is energy. So money is just energy. Money is energy until our belief of what money is influences what it becomes in the physical world. From our past experiences, our learning, our conditioning, we see money as that piece of paper with those numbers on, those heavy coins. We are manifesting them into matter through our perception. And our perception are born out of our beliefs. When we do away with that paradigm created by our beliefs, everything is energy. I am energy, you are energy. The success that you want is an energy. How do we move away from the physical matter that we feel right now? You have your hands on your legs, perhaps you can feel your form. How do we become energy? And the way that we get closer to the energy, to that energetic truth, is through our feelings. It is the light feelings. It's the feelings that Stina is on a world mission to create in everyone. It's love. It's enlightenment. That's what you're creating, Michelle, as a coach, as a quantum coach. Enlightenment is right up there high in terms of energetic frequency and manifestation. Passion. That passion, Holly, that you've got for what you do, giving people back their health. When you move into those emotions, passion, enlightenment, love, you can feel your energetic state rising, lighter. You feel lighter. Maybe you even feel like you're floating. So now we can feel the distinction between that lightness and that feeling we felt at the start, maybe the feeling that we're touching our legs or our backside touching the chair, whatever it is that is matter. And what we're trying to do, because this is the way we were taught and programmed, is to shift matter with matter. So we're trying to make that money come towards us in the form of matter ourselves, because we're in that vibration of need. I need that money, I need that sale, I need that client. Suddenly our vibrations down low. We're closer to matter and further away from the energy, the energetic state. So notice now how you can move those emotions up and down. You can move those emotions up and down. And as you move them up again, feeling that enlightenment, feeling that passion, feeling that love, I want you to place just a quick focus on your left ear. Notice its form, notice its matter, its shape. Notice how it has a texture. And then notice the wall or whatever is on the other side of your ear. But now I want you to take yourself into the space. Take yourself into the space between the ear, between the wall, and be in the space. Feel the freedom in the space. Feel how you can turn yourself around, your energy like the energy around you, completely free. Feel the volume of the space. How do we operate in that space? How do we operate more in that space? In that space, your visualization that you connected with at the beginning of this call, that's there. That's there in that space, existing as an energy, and that's where you can shift, where you can make that quantum leap, where you can bring that reality closer towards you through your focus. So there's two things you can be doing on a daily basis, and that is a meditation like this, where you start to really feel what it feels like to be in that space, to be unlimited, to be boundless, to be free. And visualization, where you start to intently focus on what you want, the detail of what you want, as if it's happening right now. Just before we move out of this beautiful, I don't even know what you'd call it, meditation, visualization hybrid, just hanging out in the space, I want to tell you about the quantum staircase. So your whole life, you've been conditioned by time. You've been told that certain things take a certain time, that you have to have a certain amount of time to do certain things, that you are bound by time. Maybe you have been in the situation where you've had too much time and you've felt lost, you felt bored, you felt unmotivated, and maybe you've been on the other side as well, where you've been bound by time, short of time. We're so programmed by time, but the truth is that time doesn't exist. The only time is right now, in the present moment. That's the only time that exists. That present moment, and where you place your focus and the energy, the frequency that you're vibrating at right now. And in that frequency, you're somewhere on a staircase. And in front of you, the stairs lead upwards to the vision of what you want. They're at the top of the stairs. There's that vision. You see that vision. Your whole life, you've been told that there are certain steps you have to take, certain amount of time, certain things that have to happen to get what you want. And that's on a traditional staircase. That's a normal staircase in front of you. On the quantum staircase, you can take those steps away. All you ever need to know is what is on the next step. And the universe will guide you with that step. The universe will give you those breadcrumbs when you can stay connected, when you can be in the space. In the space, you're outside of the paradigm that you've created with your mind and the beliefs that you have in that operating system. That paradigm that you're creating with your mind has one door, and it takes you out of that door into the next paradigm that looks exactly the same. A predictable future right now, based on the operating system that you have, because the operating system that you have will create the thoughts that manifest in your reality. Back on that quantum staircase, there's the vision now sitting ahead of you, and there's a next step. How do you connect with those breadcrumbs? How do you connect with those divine messages? And the answer is the integration that you commit to every single day. The choices that you make about that rhythm. Breaking the habit, again, like Joe Dispenza says, of being yourself. Choosing and committing to doing the things that make you feel differently, that make you feel a different way and keep you connected. There's a powerful breath work, again, that includes an intermittent hypoxia where there is a breath hold, and in that breath hold, you completely press pause on life. You find yourself completely in the present moment and completely connected to yourself. And me, my clients, my mentors, we've all received really kind of exciting downloads and visions in that pause that are the breadcrumbs you're seeking. So when you're seeking that business strategy, you're looking in the wrong place. You're looking outside of yourself. You're looking to the sales strategy, the social media strategy, and we 100% need those things. We do. We need to use them in complement, in combination with these things that we're doing ourselves, because the fourth biohack, number 4, is shutting off those thoughts, changing those thought patterns, changing them around, and having that self-connection. So your 4th biohack is to have micro pauses during the day. So where you are now, where you've got your eyes shut and you're calm and your parasympathetic nervous system is switched on and it's like, woo, it's lovely, right? You can put a reminder on your phone, an alarm on your phone that goes off every 3 hours, because every 4 hours we are naturally reverting to that emotional home in a subconscious state. We're naturally going back there. Our vibrations naturally coming back to that point. So we want to, before that happens, take the power back and get into a meditation like this. And I really recommend a heart meditation where you actually breathe into your heart. And when you're doing this, there's research to say that it actually changes your immune system. Your immune system changes. You slow your mind down. I know that your mind's not necessarily physically moving, but it is. And you focus on bringing the mind's pace to the pace of the breath into the heart. So you're in coherence. The universal energy, the energy in that quantum field is coherent. And we have to match. We have to have coherence, which means that our nervous system is in the parasympathetic state. We are grounded, we are calm, we are connected. So having those micro pauses every 3 hours, breathing into your heart, bringing your attention to an intention of gratitude, calling in a memory or a mental picture that gives you the warm and fuzzies. Call that in, change your vibration, start to see how you can change your emotional state. And in that feeling good, connect with the intention of what you're creating. And from there, ask yourself, what is it important that I do next? And you'll be surprised the answer that you get. You will be surprised how you can go from completely confused, completely overwhelmed to completely clear. It happened to me today. I was asking myself, how do I make my branding match how I feel in my delusional state, which is the $1 million business owner? How do I make the branding match now? How do I look more of what I already am, even though I'm not quite physically there yet, if that makes sense? And I got overwhelmed. I got really overwhelmed. I found myself questioning all these different marketing, selling strategies, like I learned so much and I'm around such amazing mentors all of the time. It's like I'm getting drip fed strategy. And sometimes I feel like it's loaded all up on me, like the lady in the labyrinth that carries all the bags. And I immediately knew in that feeling, because I knew it was just a trigger, to go into my heart meditation. And I asked myself, what do I have to do next? And it just came to me like so clear. It was like, Claire, you got to set a standard. And it was a simple answer. You've got to set a standard of the pictures and the graphics that you use online. And if they're not at a certain standard, then you don't put them there anymore. You don't put the fuzzy picture of you with the kids. You don't put it there. Because people are attributing, it's the trust side now. It's trusting that what I say is real And I know it's real, and I know I create the results, and I've got the testimonials, but from a stranger's point of view, they're wanting to see another level of branding now. And so I set myself that standard. The answer came really clear. And I also started to see glimmers of like, you know, where I could improve the visual aspects of my brand as well. It was just so clear, and it was from overwhelmed to clear. So that is really a really cool hack that you can use every single day, and I really recommend it. And the other cool thing is that I've recently getting into heart math. Has anybody heard of heart math? So they're studying the heart, and what they found is that the heart has an electromagnetic field, and it looks like this. So your heart right now it's got this field around it, and it is communicating with other hearts and other brains. It is changing the frequency of somebody else's heart when they're in your magnetic field. Like I'm getting like, isn't that cool? So they found this electromagnetic field, and they also found that it's directly involved in intuitive perception. So it's basically coupling with an energetic field that is existing out there in the quantum realm. It's coupling with it, and it's beyond the realm of space and time, but there's information in there. And when it connects, we feel it here. And we hear people say, follow your heart. It just felt right in my heart. The science is saying there's truth to that. So that is powerful. There is evidence that both the heart and the brain receive and respond to information about future events before those events happen, intuition, just like Einstein said. Powerful. So you staying connected and being able to be in that feeling state. We are taught our whole lives to distract, numb, detach from our feelings. I grew up with a mother who is bipolar, and there was so much stigma around emotion. There was a time in my life where I was afraid to be anything but right there in the middle, where like you're not too excited, you're not too sad, because it felt like, you know, if I went either way, then I'd get labeled just like she was. Now, the truth is, I am just like she is, and she's fucking special. She has intuition. My mum has psychic connection. And I honestly believe that that is at the root of the bipolar, is that she's just never really been able to cope with how she feels and what she sees in her mind. And she has trauma. She has deep, horrible, rooted trauma that only in the last 6 months, where I've worked with her, has she started to peel back the layers of that. And it's heartbreaking. But in peeling back the layers of that trauma, her bipolar has significantly improved. She said to me that she is the happiest that she's ever been in her whole life. My dad rang me, he's like, she's making dinner. She's made dinner 3 nights on the trot, and she's got out of her pajamas, and she's doing things that for the entire 50 years they've been married, he's not known her do. And that is why I have such passion now around emotions and emotional biohacking and trauma, and helping people to live their best life. Because for a really long time, I felt like I couldn't do that for my mum. And it kind of seeded this mission in me to fix everybody else instead. And I had to take a journey of realizing I actually can't do that. I got very sad at one point that not everybody even wants to be fixed. But now I found a beautiful balance where I attract in those that are ready, right? So when we say, I knew it in my heart, follow your heart, there's science in that. But it requires us to be connected. So quantum physics is opening up this whole body of evidence that how you feel could have more to do with the attraction of those sales than just the strategy that you're using. And I talked about how you're living in this paradigm. It's like a box of 4 walls and 1 door. And those walls are your beliefs and your conditioning, which are creating the perspectives that mean you can only see through that door. And in the quantum realm, there are no walls. There's an infinite number of potentials. And they exist as electromagnetic frequencies in the present moment. You ever have those fleeting thoughts? You have a fleeting thought. You ever have that moment where you have a fleeting thought and you don't take action on it? Yeah. And then maybe it's 3 months, 3 years, whatever, somebody else creates exactly the same thing. And you're like, hold on a minute, I had that idea. It's because those thoughts have a frequency. Those thoughts have a frequency. And somebody else was vibrating at the same resonance as that idea, that thought, and they took action, and it turned into matter, it turned into form, it turned into reality. So think about that with your money. While you're stuck in whatever operating system that you have, the belief system, that internal programming that creates those feelings that block you taking action, or they make you play small and the action is small and you're not getting those results, somebody else is getting those results. Somebody else is making that money. Somebody else is turning that fleeting thought, that fleeting moment into a masterpiece that is changing their world and the world, right? It's all about frequency. So we've got to take ownership of the survival mode that these beliefs manifest in, because that gets us fixating on the detail. So that beta brainwave, when it's going really, really fast, that is where, and this is one of the signals that you're in it, is that you're fixated on the details. Like I was today, my brain waves had speeded up. I was like, do I do marketing? Do I say, well, what do I do in the sales? What do I do in the sales? Fixating out here. Strategy, which one? Overwhelm. Whereas I went in and I found the answer, right? So when you're fixated on time, when you're telling yourself, I don't have time, I hear that so much now, and I can't even hear people say it. I'm like, doesn't exist. It's just your priorities. I hear it when I say it myself. I'm like, doesn't exist. It's just how you're prioritizing. Time doesn't exist. You will fixate on time, and you will tell people that you don't have time when you're in survival mode. You will tell people you can't afford it when you're in survival mode. You will fixate on the details when you're in survival mode. And because of that, you're always just going to be creating the same over and over again. So this shift in identity, if those beliefs are that internal programming that is creating that identity, and that identity isn't creating the results that you want, you don't have the sales that you want, you have to start shifting the identity. And it starts with the vision. You go back to that vision and you say, okay, I've focused on the vision that I want to create. I know what it looks like. Who's the person at the center of it creating it? What are her non-negotiables? How does she feel on a daily basis? What is her emotional home? What are the decisions she makes that I don't make? This was huge with me and Stina, was me actually, and Stina pulling me into line, like the things that it was like self-punishment. You know, like there was a whole, we were laughing about it, but me wearing my pregnancy knickers, like a year after I'd been pregnant, because that hand to mouth identity wouldn't let me chuck them out and go and buy a new set. Because you don't do that. You don't ask for more. You don't have more than you need. Those pregnancy knickers, they weren't falling completely down. So let's hold on to them. You know, so there's an identity, and we have to, it's the identity shift that we want. We have to see what that identity that we're moving towards looks like. And that can be fun. That can be like, it starts with that decision. I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to make a decision right now. These belief systems that I have, this identity that I have, it is hurting my life. It is hurting my life. It is sabotaging my success. I don't want it anymore. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with my excuses. I'm done with my bullshit. I'm done tying myself up in that drama. I am tired and done with listening to my beliefs that are just not true. I am done. I am going to break the pattern, and tomorrow morning I am going to operate in a completely different identity. And you can map out the things that you are doing that are different. You can lay down the anchor feelings that you have, how you feel in this identity, and you can understand the activities and the affirmations as well. And if you do your trauma work, you can find really specific affirmations that really do help you to believe in a whole new operating system, right? But you can have these anchor activities that are changing your emotional state on a daily basis, on like every single day. And that is where you will start to see your success manifest faster, because you are being as if that success is already done. So in that quantum field, it's happening now. It's happening right now, but it's happening at a certain frequency. And that is your job right now. Number one, ask yourself the question, what do you really have to do to change your frequency? And like Einstein said, match that frequency to the reality that you want. Number two, what's your integration plan? Out of tonight or this morning, wherever you are in the world watching this, watching it now or on the replay, what is that integration plan? Is it meditation? Is it gratitude walks? Are you going to take up yoga? Because this stuff, I used to laugh at it. It works. In our accelerator, we have sessions, multiple sessions a week, so that we are more in connection with ourselves than we are with our external world. More in control of our emotions, manifesting faster, actually changing our entire body state on a biological level. Because when you start to change those feelings, you're not just influencing the brain and changing that neural circuitry. You're not just shifting the nervous system and making changes there. You're changing on a genetic level. Your DNA is changing. And there's research now saying that this also changes our ancestry backwards and also forwards. I am saving my daughters right now from my hardships of the past. I carried my mum and dad's shame for most of my life, not really realizing until very recently that it wasn't mine. It was sort of brought down. It was like nature and nurture, because it was there in my genes. It was there in my grandma, so it's like we are saving our children from these things. And number three, how do you get so clear on that vision of what you're creating and the identity that is at the center of it, creating it? One of the highest vibrations, like I said, is love and passion. Actually being on purpose. So what you're doing right now in a soul fired up business, becoming more of that, becoming more on purpose, connecting with the things that you really like, they really light your soul fire up. When I really threw away my excuses and connected with my desire to reforest the Brazilian rainforest, and then from there start to support other forest fragments across the world, like everything changed in my business. Because I started working more on purpose, more aligned to my soul goal. I changed my vibration. And when you clear out that baggage from the past and start to access your deepest creativity, start to be, having those amazing, beautiful, imaginative ideas. So in the challenge, the Unleash Your Legacy challenge, it's obviously the Unleash Your Legacy challenge that you know and love, taken to a whole new level, reloaded, rebranded, whole different level of content, because I want to work with a whole different level of people, to be honest. It's like we want to play big. We want to be working in those areas, passion, love, on purpose. We want to be truly unleashing the legacy that we want to create, right? And if you want to dig deeper, so yeah, show up. That's the message there. Show up. You're on the pre-list, so you'll get first dibs on so Friday afternoon New Zealand time, which is probably Thursday time everywhere else. You'll start to get those pre-challenge value videos. So they'll be warming you up towards the challenge. So yeah, show up to the challenge. It's going to be amazing. Share it with your friends. We always have a pre-party on the weekend before. So I throw out lots of prizes on there. So the more people you bring in and the more you share, the more prizes you get access to in terms of the draws. So share far and wide. If you want the challenge link, then give me a shout. The page launches on Friday as well. And if you want to dig deeper into this quantum stuff, I'm bringing the final group into my Quantum Leap Intensive for the year. It's your last chance to jump on my brand new certification, which launched earlier this year. Michelle is one of my quantum coaches, and we are learning how to apply quantum science to our coaching, and not just coaching, but also healing, any sort of work where you're working with people. And also this approach changes your life as well. It is learning this stuff so you can apply it to your own growth. So if you want information on that, let's get together on a call and I can share it with you and see whether it's something that you'd like to, jump in. But that is all from me, unless you have any questions. Does anybody have any questions? Said it was going to be interactive and then I talked all the way through non-stop. No, you're all quiet. Hopefully Michelle is still driving the car. Awesome. Okay, brilliant. Well, I will let you go. Thank you so much for showing up to this training. I hope it was useful. I hope you got value. And let me know as well, answers to those questions. Feel into them, see what comes up, and share back with me. I'd love to see your progress out of this call. So thank you and wishing you all good night. Bye-bye.